Hello and welcome to 4,000 Counting. I'm Watty, and today I'm joined by a returning guest, Mr. Showbiz himself, John Strange. 1/3 of the Solway Sharks ownership. We revisit this conversation after chatting way back in the summer when they just got the go-ahead. John, first of all, welcome back. And second of all, congratulations on the success of the Sharks so far this season.
Thanks very much, Nicky. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me back on. And yeah, let's put a pin on the success so far and see how we go the rest of the season.
Absolutely, mate. I've got every confidence that you boys make the playoffs. It's
Yeah.
something we said at the start in the summer, the roster you put together. Obviously, we'll get into some of the changes and stuff you've made throughout the year. But I felt that you guys would get it done. Fuck me, you're going to do it the hard way by not winning in 7 games to start the year. You did have me doubting myself a wee bit, but I was like, nope, they're still going to do it. Well, how was that for you when obviously you've not had much time to put it together. You've chucked it together. You've done your best. You got it going, and then L L L L. That must have felt like the longest 4 fucking weeks
It
ever.
was horrendous, is probably the only word to describe it. Myself, Phil, and David on a daily basis would look at each other and think, oh man, what do we do? What can we do? This on paper, this
Yeah.
team should be better than it is. But then, Grubby, as you know, is a legend of the game. He just kept saying, don't worry, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. And then eventually we came together. Don't get me wrong, it's been up and down since then, but we're probably now in a position where I thought we would be at the start of the season. We've just had those seven L's on the trot, as you say, but we're getting there now. We're getting there. But it was hard. It was hard at the time, standing there thinking, come on, come on.
Well, I've been on the on ice side of that because obviously I played for Isle of Wight. We didn't have a budget, man. Like so, we had a really good first line, and then you just get pulverized by the other team's second, third lines. There was no real fourth lines back in the day, maybe a spare forward or whatever. And then we went to Bracknell again. We had the best line in the league, me, Pink and Seski, and then some ED1 players, and we got pumped again. And you'd be like 5, 6 games. Come on, as a player, you're like, what do you have to do?
Yeah.
Never really thought about it from the ownership side, but when you just stood there watching your boys, that's got to be a tough go round.
You've got to remember the Sharks had come from now. Granted, everyone knew that they were jumping up a considerable amount as far as quality goes, but I think everybody underestimated just how good this league is and just how tough these games were going to be. So the Sharks just were not, and even Martin will tell you himself, he wasn't used to losing.
Yeah.
So dealing with a loss and bouncing back from a loss is a whole different ball game or a whole different game from winning all the time. So that just took a wee bit of catching up, shall we say, a bit of
Especially
settling.
for the boys that have been there, like let's say 4 or 5 years at the NIHL, won North. They won against Streatham a couple of times in the playoffs. They probably think they're the tits, and then all of a sudden they go up, and you've got Rory Herman and Liam Stewart pulling Michigans,
Uh,
and like it's
let's not
it's a.
talk about that.
That's what, by the way, that was some goal.
It was some goal. It was some goal. Aye, aye.
So
Fair
so
play to both.
so my brother had to be different. He sent me a video last night. So he does the Michigan, and as he comes round, he kind of loses it, but he chucks it out in front and then bats it through the goalie's legs.
Oh, for goodness sake.
That's what I said in the family group chat. My mum was like, "That poor goalie." Like, you boys were
That's
putting a
him.
yeah, he was putting a pounding on him, and then you're batting Michigan pucks out the air.
Aye,
See,
cheeky.
back in the day, some big fucking hairy Canadian would come and cross check your arm off.
Oh, aye. But
Yeah,
not now, though. Not now,
no,
though.
not now. I think we're
Aye.
embracing the Michigan.
Yes.
But yeah, going back to the early days, I mean, I think I said at the start, I said Dunbar and Peacock will have 80 points. Jesus, those boys had a slow start. And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden you look and it's like, oh, Dunbar had 8 points last weekend. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
here he comes. And now I'm
Aye.
just looking here, 64 points in 30 odd games. Yeah, he's going to do exactly what I
Oh,
thought.
yeah. Yeah.
He's some player. What's it like having those boys? Because obviously, when we spoke to both of those boys in the summer when they were coming into their new roles, what's it like having them in the on ice and off ice roles?
It's brilliant. They find it difficult. I'm not going to lie, because they're they're not used to the transition between playing and then off-ice role and the amount of hours that they need to put in for that. So they'll appreciate me letting everyone know just how hard it is for them. But
No, I bet it
it's,
is. I
it
really
is,
bet it
it
is.
is. It's a mindset thing. It's trying to, like, when we see them on game day, for example, you know what it's like being a player yourself. On game day, when they come into the rink, we try not to have too much chat with them about business because
Anything other than hockey,
that's the days they're there as players. But it's hard because we're such a close knit team. Me, Phil, David, and the two of them, along with Grubby and JT, we're a really, really tight team. So we always end up talking about business. But then we need to remember to walk away and let them do their ritual and their warm up and all that kind of stuff. But having them on board, their insight into the mindset of a player is phenomenal. I love listening to it. Every minute I talk to them, I ask them questions. Like after a home game, if it's a Saturday and we're staying over, and shout out to the Holiday Inn, who are our sponsor down there. We'll always end up in the bar back at the Holiday Inn. Me, Phil, David, our wife's partners, whatever, and then the boys will be there as well. And we kind of have a little debrief on the game that has just gone through there, even though they probably just want to get to bed and get up.
yeah.
They're up the next day, but getting it fresh from them, like an hour and a half after the end of the game, 2 hours after the end of the game, it's the insight into what happened during the game, what Martin said to them during the game, what the refs had said to them, the things you see as a spectator, but you don't know. Getting that information, if you could bottle that and sell it, you'd make a fortune.
Oh, you would. Some of my favorite conversations actually are breaking down the analysis of the game, whether that be from on ice or when I was coaching, or like I might go watch one of my brother's games, and he's like, right, what did you see from there? Okay, and this is what I see. What was you hearing on the bench? Why didn't that guy do this? Why? And all of a sudden, you start to get a really deep understanding of what's going on out there. And when you've got the experience of Peaks, of Dunbar there, you boys, it's great for you for first year owners because you can lean on them for stuff like that.
Oh, as I say, their insight, their knowledge, and their ability to explain to us, because we're not players, we really don't know what goes through the mind of a player. So being able to, like, I get quite, Phil says I need to calm down a wee bit, I get quite...
Give yourself Connery.
I get a bit uptight at times with it, especially when we lose. And I'll maybe say something to them about, what about, so I'm not going to name any players, but what about so-and-so? I thought he was pish the night or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he didn't play very well the night. And then Danny will say, well, what actually happened was, and he'll break the game down for me, and he'll break that play down for me, and he'll tell me that's why that happened. And then I have more of an understanding as to why that player's role at that point in time in that game against that team, against that player, was different to what I had seen him do the previous week. So getting that information as an owner helps us understand why the team is laid out a certain way at a certain time.
It's an interesting insight, and I'm sure the fans listening to this, Solway fans are a good bunch up there, but they seem to like dial into everything. The last time we had anytime we've had any of the Solway lot on, they're all jumping on the podcast and listening. I watched your podcast with Andy last week. Shout out Andy, great job. Really good podcast. And again, the fans are in, they're chatting about it, and they're invested. They seem to like really want to know what's going on. They appreciate the insight that you guys give them. What's the feedback been like for the first kind of 4 or 5 months? As you say, they used to gubbing everyone every week. Sorry to my English people, that means giving them a kicking.
Helping them.
But then obviously you have these losses, you try to build, and then you start winning some games. What's it like for the fans and your relationship? Have they enjoyed the process so far?
Mate, they've been brilliant. They've been absolutely brilliant, even with the 7 L's in a row, because they've been fans for so long. They understand, and they knew that the level that we were going up to was much better. And they used to say during that period where we were losing all the time, if they grabbed us in the bar afterwards or whatnot, they would say, by the way, the level of hockey that we're getting to see, despite the loss, is so, no disrespect to the league they were in, was so much better than what we're used to. So they were enjoying watching hockey.
Mm-hmm.
knowing that eventually the wins would come, and of course they have come, and they're really invested. The fans are great. We've also shout out to everyone involved behind the scenes at the club. The amount of new fans that we've brought in recently has been brilliant. I think you'd messaged me the other day when we had the 844. So last year's average attendance was about 320, 350. Now, as I say the other week, there with 844. So we've nearly trebled the average attendance that we're getting. So that's new fans, old fans coming back, existing fans staying, but new fans coming in. We're doing a lot of outreach work in the schools just now as well, and the amount of school kids that are coming along
That's
and
class.
nipping their parents' heads. So all the fans are brilliant. There's always the odd one that's not happy, and we'll get the odd message, the odd grumble, but c'est la vie, as they say, you can't please everyone.
No. Yeah, don't you just know that if you follow 4,000 and counting, you'll know that very, very well. I'm always upsetting folk, but hey, shit happens. You gotta take rough with a smooth.
Listen, you see it how it is. Sometimes people don't like a straight shooter, and tough.
Well, especially in 2024, but there's a few of us left, and our hearts are in the right place, even if our heat's not in it all the time. But I mean, we do try. Talk about some of the changes you made. Obviously, I watched you boys play Sheffield twice at the start of the year, and I'll be the first to say Barry's my boy. I love him, but he was not good enough. He just didn't seem to get off and running. You release Barry. That's got to be a big decision to make that early on in the season, because hey, Barry's a good player and he's experienced, but he just didn't seem to be at the races. And I like the fact that you boys were like, okay, we need to make a change here, and you pulled the trigger.
Well, we got together, and for no disrespect to Barry, he's a cracking guy. It wasn't working. It was clear to see. I think maybe the role we expected him to play was not a role that I think he was ready for or was able to at that point in time in his career. Maybe we expected too much from him. Maybe he put too much pressure on himself. Couple of times,
knowing Barry probably did.
The end, couple of times towards the end, I spoke to him, and you could see the stress in his face. And I said to him, I remember one game in particular, I got him just before the game. I was like, listen, take it easy. And he's like, I just feel like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I was like, well, you can't play like that, Barry. You need to take it easy. But it didn't work. So listen, it was a decision that was a unanimous decision from the owners and the coach and staff. We all decided that it was probably in everyone's best interests to do that. But fair play to him, he's bounced back, and he's
doing well.
He's a key figure by the looks of it in that Bristol team. So
kudos
to him for doing that. But it didn't work for him here. It was done. We made the decision. We moved on.
I think the issue Barry had, when he was say MK in the EPL, he was around that where he's a first line or second line guy. He then goes up to the Elite League for what, 600-700 games. You're playing a shutdown role. You might get some penalty kill time. Mm-hmm. You're playing You're playing without the puck a lot of the time for a start.
Yeah.
When you're on those lower lines in the Elite League and you're Brit, and you might have gone from playing 5 to 6 to 7 minutes a night to 25, 26, 27. It's completely different. He's playing more than one weekend than he might play in a month in the Elite League.
Yep. I think that was the main issue. I think, as I said, the role we potentially expected him to play was maybe not one that he had been used to for, like you say, 600 odd games.
Yeah, it's a lot of games.
Like I say, no disrespect to the guy at all whatsoever, and I hope there's no hard feelings. He messages me every now and again, and we move on. Life is like, mate. Shit, shit happens.
Yeah, shit does happen, and especially in this game. And the thing that I liked about it is when we first talked, you guys said, look, we're new at this, but if changes need to be made, we will make changes. And you were true to your word. That was the first kind of change you made. Later on in the season, you made the addition of Callie Robertson. Now, like, his old man and my old man go fucking way back. Callie, he's tried it a few places, but he seems to have really found his feet. He also gives someone a little bit of a shit pumping the other day, so shout out Callie for that. We love to see that on 4,000 and counting, hence the logo.
Did not see that coming at all.
Well, he even spoke to his old man. He's a bit of a firecracker. So
that's what Spud said. I messaged Martin after the game, and I was like, what the what happened there? Where did that come from? And he just said he's got a bit of his old man in him. And then a couple of the boys, the other boys were also saying like he's pretty
Yeah, I think.
solid. He's
Yeah.
pretty solid. And to be fair on him, if you've watched that particular fight, he got sucker punched.
I
I
did.
don't know who it was that came through the bodies and clocked him one, but anyone would have reacted like that, getting a sucker punch like that. So fair play to him. And personally, I thought he gave the guy an absolute doing, but there we
You
go.
gave him a bit of a pace then. I thought he won the fight, but I mean, as while he's got his gloves on his hands, he's sitting here on 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points in 15 games. That's a great start for his Sharks career.
He's hit the ground running, which is exactly what we wanted him to do. And he's a lovely guy as well. He's really quiet around the place. He just walks about with a wee smile. He doesn't really say much, but he's. I like to class these players as he's a wee bit of a pest of a player.
Yep.
He's wily. He's always in and about stuff. And obviously, if he's playing on the first line with Peaks and Dunny, who better to be playing alongside as far as get yourself in the right spot, they'll find you.
You get opportunities, don't you?
Yeah, and it's working well. And he's a good addition to the team. He's a good team player. He's a good guy. Everyone seems to like him, and everyone's taken to him. The only issue we've got is his name's Callie, which is the name of my daughter, so she's pissed off that there's another Callie kicking about. So if they call him Robbo, not Callie, because Callie, there is only one Callie, and that's
Yeah, there
one.
can only be one Callie in the Sharks, and she's pulling rank right off the bat.
She's pulling rank right away. She's ready to say, you're calling him Robertson or Robbo, you're not calling him Callie.
I love that. You boys did have a lot of guys that have come up. Have you been impressed with the way they've handled transition into that tougher league? Obviously, like you say, it's the jump up's incredible.
I think most of them, and they'll all agree with me when I say this. I think most of them underestimated what they were getting into and the level of commitment that's required at this level at this league was maybe something that some of them weren't 100% ready for, but they're getting there. That I will give them that, with a great coaching setup behind them and the right chat, shall we say, they're getting there. But I think they maybe didn't expect it to be as tough as it is, because it's a tough league.
Well, you're never getting a night off. I mean, even the bottom place team is going to give you a game, and then we look at your fixtures you had at the weekend. MK Sheffield, MK Swindon. That's a fucking tough weekend. That's like tough, really tough.
What was it? The last 4 games there was Swindon away, Bristol away, MK away, Telford away. So luckily we managed 5 points out of that, which was not too bad. We beat Bristol, get pumped off Swindon, beat Bristol, get thumped off MK, and then took Telford to penalty shots last night, Sunday night, and it was a sore one. I thought we had them right at the end there. Peaks got a quick double, and I was like, right, he's on for his hat trick here, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. MK and Swindon, I have to say, from the first time we played, we beat MK at home.
Yeah,
we beat them at home, and difference in their level, their energy, their fitness was frightening. Different
so much depth, haven't they?
Oh, crazy depth, and they're lightning quick. They were so fast on the ice as well. I think we just get caught up in it all. And then interestingly, the game against Swindon again, they're like the old wily dog of the league, aren't they? They know what they're doing, they know where they're meant to be. But Dunny said to me when I was chatting to him after that game, I was like, what happened? 8-1? And he described it in a brilliant way, and you might understand this as a player. He said, when we went a few down, it felt like we were in quicksand. We were trying too hard, that everything we were trying was going twice as bad as it should have done, because we were over trying. And he said it was as if we were just constantly fighting against ourselves. And then bang, 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 8 goals.
They put the foot on the neck, really went for the jugular, and some teams, they get 3-4 up, maybe they sit back a little bit. Swindon, they got a lot of boys that like to get points. So when they see an opportunity to rack the points up a wee bit and pad out the stats, they're going to go for it. They're not going to take it easy. And when you've got as much talent and depth as they've got, then they're going to they've done it to a few teams already this year. They'll do it to more before the season's finished.
I think Aaron Nell I mean, not only is he a lovely guy, because obviously I've had quite a few dealings with him as a sort of co-owner, if you like. You know, uh, discussing jersey colours, feeding the boys when they're up, swapping streams, just talking about the league and stuff like that. He's got a lot of stuff that he does off the ice. He's a busy, busy, busy man. But then when you see him on the ice, the guy's just first class.
Still snipes for fun, doesn't he?
Oh, it's brilliant to watch. Got a lot of time for him and a lot of respect for what he does for the game.
Speaking of sniping for fun,
Yeah.
Nolan Gardner's just cheekily popped himself up to 29 goals. He's almost at the 30 goal mark.
Yep.
He's proved to be a shrewd addition. He's sitting on 49 points in 39 games, and he seems to know where the back of the net is.
He does. And that's him now. He's on the second line. So, you know, he's playing a lot at the moment. I think he's playing alongside Scotty Henderson and your boy Mason. And he is the nicest guy you have
Super nice guy.
in your entire life. I actually ended up, and this is where us owners go above and beyond. So his dad was down. His dad was overseeing him. Nolan's dad was overseeing him, and I ended up driving him back up from Dumfries to Glasgow and dropped him off at the hotel outside Glasgow Airport. And he managed to stay for the game that I think Nolan might have got his hat trick that night. I think he got his hat trick the night that his dad was one of the nights his dad was there. He's just such a beautiful guy. He's just so smiley and happy and cheery, and he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He's getting the goals now, and he's getting the assists, and he's in the right place at the right time. And he'll kick on. I think he'll still kick on.
Do you reckon he's chasing maybe? Well, what we got? About 15 regular season games left now, something give or take.
Yeah. So
No
is he
reason
on 29 goals? Let's see if we can get him to the 40 goals. Maybe.
That's what I was kind of thinking there. If you keep feeding him, you get some power play reps here and there. There's no reason why he won't. He's right on track for it. You've had a couple of different goalies. Obviously, you've got Hepburn and you've got Curtis. They kind of seem to be sharing the duties. How those boys been settling into? Because obviously that they haven't played at this level really before. Curtis a little bit with the bees, but then he was gone. And you know Hepburn played a couple of games for the Phantoms in the cup previously. But other than that, those boys haven't really been like one A's, one B's. Because I don't think any of them's really a backup, are they? Like how they found like the workload they have to do and the
It's a
competitive.
strange one, if I'm honest with you. It's been hard for them, I think, given the amount of shots they've both faced each game that they've been involved in. Callum picked up a wee bit of an injury maybe 6-7 weeks ago, which definitely kept him out for a few games. And then Curtis hit a real bit of form, if you like. And his save percentage at that time was really good, and he was playing really well. So he kept the Mets for quite some time, and then Cal got put in. I felt for Cal; he got put in against Swindon, and then he got hooked. I think when it went to 5-1 or 5-0, whatever it was, he got hooked, and Curtis got put back in. But then Curtis lost the 8 the other night there against MK, and kept the Nets for the following day against Bristol. It's hard. It's hard. The good thing is, although Curtis has played the majority of games out of the last 15, say,
Right.
You're never going to find a more supportive and fun Wido than the guy is just he's just a big nugget. I think another Scottish phrase for you. He's a cracking big guy, and he's so supportive of Curtis, even though he's not getting a game anymore at the moment. He still travels, he still puts the gear on, and he still makes sure he keeps Curtis's mind in the right place. And you can't ask for any more than that from the netminder that isn't playing.
It's got to be the toughest job in all of sport, being the guy that sat on the bench knowing you're not getting on. I mean, it's different when you're a 16, 17-year-old. You might not get any reps. Shit happens. You might go out and you might get loads of reps. But if you're the goalie that's not playing, barring a freak injury or the rest of the boys shit in the bend hanging your goalie out to dry, you ain't getting on the ice, which if you've just sat on the bus for 6 hours, 7 hours, isn't much fun. So to come in and be the glue guy and be the fun guy and fucking keep it loose and keep it loose for Curtis, that's a huge part that a lot of people will not see behind the scenes of.
Yep. And that's why we love him. That's why I think he'll be at the club as long as he wants to be, doing whatever it is he wants to do, because he's a club guy, he's a team guy, and he'll be there as long as he wants to be, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates the comments because he's been there for a while, and I've seen him play. I think he's a
Uh,
cracking netminder. Like, I think you boys have actually got two good netminders.
do.
You touched on the Telford game. What do you make of Brad Day's celebration? He fucking roasted you there.
He did, he did, he did.
By
You
the
know,
way,
no comment.
I will say, as much as it was funny, it's not original. It's been done.
Aye. Oh,
It's been
everything's been done before. But,
it's been done. It's the first time I've seen it over here, mind.
mhm.
Um, but again, we go back to where all the tough Canadians at, because that one when I was playing, someone would have been strangling you with that goal
Yep.
net. Well, yeah, let me sit on top of that net for you. Yeah, see how good your bench press is. But I mean,
Aye.
we talk about good goalies. How good is Brad Day?
Oh, well, he got man of the match
Oh, there you go.
for them. So there you go. Says that, that says all really in a game that went to penalty shots. So
Who is the team that's impressed you the most that have come into the Shark Tank, and you've thought they're the real deal?
Swindon by a mile. Swindon by an absolute country mile. They are like a well-drilled machine.
They don't change much, do they? They keep that good core of players together. They chop little bits in, chop little bits out. But they've already started announcing Bebris is there for next year, Chris Jones is there for next year, Plusy's there for next year. They're already starting to announce these boys. They keep that good fundamental core together, and then they add a piece, they add another piece. So when you say about them being well drilled, a lot of these guys have played together for years. I know something you said
Aye.
about to Andy, like your first kind of foray into the league. The boys are still getting to know each other. Yeah, brand new imports, brand new leagues for some of them. They come down from the elite league, hadn't played. Swindon, they don't have that issue.
Yep, been there and done it. And see when you see them coming on the ice as well, I don't know what it is. They just look bigger. Like they look like a platoon coming onto the ice. That's when you see them coming on, you think if I'm a player, I'm going, oh shit, look at the size of these guys. They're just big. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know whether it's the red or whether it's the pads they're wearing. I don't
Yeah,
know. Come
definitely the
on, they just
Reds.
look big and they just fill the ice. I don't know what it is, but they've been by far and away the team that have impressed me the most
Am I right?
by a long shot.
Am I right in thinking you've took points off everyone?
Now Telford was the only team we hadn't beat. We've still not beat them.
No, but I mean taking points. You've taken a
We've
point
taken
off.
points. We've taken points off every single team. We've beaten Leeds. All right, it was a penalty shot game. It doesn't matter. We still beat them.
Still
We
2 points.
Swindon. We beat Swindon in Cardiff down in Todd Kelman's home.
Well, I was there.
So you were.
I
So
was
you were.
there. And that last fucking 2 minutes of that
1 minute.
game, whatever it was, might have been the most exciting hockey I've seen live this year. It was wild. And then obviously you go down and see Spud, see JT, see the boys. And what a comeback that was.
Brilliant. And we've done that a few times. The game against Hull was spectacular. 4-2 down with 2 minutes and 19 seconds to go. And I'm standing next to Big Dave Yule, their photographer. And I was like, I said to him, Dave's about 9'4". So I was like, right. So I was like, this is never going to happen, is it? And he's like, well, no, Sharks have done this before. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
Dave.
on you go, yeah.
And then bang, bang, four each into overtime winner. Could not believe we came back from 4-2 down with 2 minutes to go. Pulled the goalie and scored twice within 2 minutes. Unbelievable. And see the one thing that, I'm a numbers guy, I always have been. And when I start analysing things, it pisses me off a wee bit. The amount of games we have lost by one goal. We could easily be sitting in fourth just now if we hadn't
That's that
lost.
league for you though. Teams, you did well to manage to get that back against Hull, because Hull were probably the sort of team that I would say once they got you 4-2, they ain't normally going to let you come. I think Matty Davis has done an exceptional job. Let's take it this way. So obviously they were the new boys last year. They got their ass fucking handed to them a wee bit. And then all of a sudden this year they've had a little bit more time. the product on the ice is completely different. The product off the ice is improving. The sponsorships and stuff they're getting in. Is that like a bit of inspiration for you guys? That you've come in as new guys. In fact, actually, you've probably performed better than what they did last year. But just the whole thing of being there, and now they're just starting to creep up, and they've just made a final.
Yep. 9 wins in a row, I think they're sitting on just now. I saw on their socials,
Wagon.
which is brilliant. I think, I think points wise, we've now surpassed the bottom three from last year. Total points.
Yeah.
And we've still got 15 games, 16 games to go. So I'm as far as being proud, kind of be more proud than that. The fact that we've actually taken more points already than the bottom three had the whole of last year, which is brilliant. But yeah, you've got to look at a team like Hull and think, as you say, bottom last year, or towards the bottom. Yeah, look at now. Look at now.
Well, they're sitting on 22 victories out of 36 games. That's a pretty good return at this stage of the season. And that's with losing Matty as a player. Like the guy was, he's your Craig Peacock. You can guarantee you're going to get 65, 70 points out of Matty. You don't have him, but I think the fact that he's now solidified his position behind the bench, he's got the boys talking. You watch him when he does his post-game interviews, he's always fucking smiling. He's always cracking a joke. Matty's an old teammate of mine, so I know what he's used to be like. I wonder what he's like with maybe some.
He doesn't like getting beat. He doesn't like getting beat at all.
No,
I got on actually all right with him. I speak, but every time he's been up, I've spent a lot of time talking to him, and obviously him and I had to very, very quickly chat that day that after the Adam Johnson thing, and the two of us agreed very, very quickly, no, we're not doing it, move on, let's postpone the game, whatever. So I got on all right with him, and I sent him a wee. I did send him a wee message after they beat Leeds. Just don't shout at me, Steve Nell. But I sent him a wee message just saying get in, because it's and his message back was it's always great when the underdog takes a scalp, and 100%. I've always been an underdog fan.
So, well, in similar vein, I was chatting to him. I said he's always good. He always sends us a stream. Right, there's a stream every week. Whenever I want to watch Hull, it's not a problem. I just said, "Good luck, brother. Go get him." And he's like, "We'll be." This is Matt. He goes, "We'll be tough, mate, but we'll give it a bash." Like, we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. And then they go into Leeds and win 5-1.
Yep.
Which, by the way, the first leg, topsy turvy, 4-3. Hull were 4-1 up. Leeds, Leeds are Leeds. They're gonna come to work. But to go into their barn and turn them over 5-1, that was really some going over.
In a semi-final of all the times to do it, class, just class. Fair play to them. I wish them all the best.
Yeah, then try to stay as neutral as we can. Who faces them in the final? Tough, and I don't know. It's a toying cost. Toying cost. Can't speak.
Going to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Jeez. Speak much. But yeah, like I think it's tough, and that's what I like about this league. You can't be like, oh well, this other team are definitely going to make the final.
Yeah,
you can't.
Doesn't matter who it is; it's still a final at the end of the day. And I think Hull will go into that with a bit of confidence, thinking no matter who it is, we've just dumped Leeds out, beating them on both legs. So bring it on. It doesn't matter who it is. I think they'll still have the belief.
Have you found, obviously, the 30s, what we use, let's go back to the stats here. You are 39 games in. Any sort of rivalry starting to build? Obviously, back in when I was playing Guildford Bracknell, because we were next door, yous don't really have the next door neighbour. So are you finding any sort of rivalry starting to happen yet? Any natural rivalries, or do you think that's something that will maybe come in year 2, year 3, year 4?
I'm sure it'll take a bit of time. I think obviously the rivalry maybe comes from either the coaching staff that know each other. Obviously, Telford, there's a rivalry there because of Spud and Tom, and then the rest of it, not really. No, there's no rivalry as such. Obviously, you've got teams that come to your barn and maybe don't behave themselves particularly well, shall we say. So
My favorite games.
I'm not naming any names, Sheffield.
The Dogs.
You know, you do
How
get
did
a
you?
wee bit of, you
How
want
did
to
you
beat
like?
the
Here you
cause
go.
dicks. If you, so.
How did you like me? Obviously, when I came up to visit, and I gave Dan Crow man of the match just to fucking rile the Sharks fans up. He'd been giving it to the fans, and I was like, right, Crow's got to be man of the match. I loved that though because the fans were on him, and he was good with the banter. He was gearing it back, and it was all in good. Like you speak to him after the game, it was all in good. Like it's all in good spirits. But he was like, "What? He fucking loved it. Like the fans are giving me shit." And then, like that was a class atmosphere at the Shark Tank that night.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. The atmosphere's getting better and better and better every week. The more people are getting in, the more noise they're bringing. And as much as you gave him that for his performance, shall we say, it was all part of the banter, and that's what it's all about. You've got to have a bit of fun with it. And I knew exactly what you were doing.
Sorry, mate.
Right, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Bring it on.
What what have you made of the traveling support? So obviously you are the furthest away from pretty much most teams. Have a lot of fans come up and experienced it yet? Because every time I talk about it on here, I'm like, go to it. You will have a great time. Great people, the volunteers, the product, the rink, cafe, the bar, the post game podcast, and everything that's going on there. Have you found that people like more and more people starting to come up from down south?
Yeah, we've had some brilliant. We've had some brilliant crowds from the away fans. Leeds brought a fair whack. Swindon brought a fair whack. Sheffield not so much. Telford were okay. But we've got a double header with MK coming up soon, 17th and 18th of February, and they've sold their allocation out
Oh,
with
amazing.
minutes. But obviously they get quite a lot of room for standing as well. So I think a lot of their fans are buying standing tickets as well. And the more the merrier. As many of them that want to come up for that weekend can come up for that weekend. We love the away fans, and some of the bar staff and the catering staff that work down at that area next to the away fans just love chatting to them.
Yeah.
And obviously we love it when they buy pints
Pints.
of Madry and cool hot dogs and chips and
Hey,
stuff
by
like
the way, folks, it's a great pint. I'm telling you that.
that. It is. It's a great pint.
And you get a
So
rolling slice. Like, come on.
I know the away fans. I think testament to the existing organisation, as in all the volunteers and the helpers and the staff within the rink. Every single team that's come up has made a point of either online, on email, social media, or in person, thanking us and telling us what a fantastic rink we've got and what fantastic people we have now. I always answer that with, "Well, you're in Scotland now. What were you
Yes,
expecting?"
Sam.
But it's so nice when they tell you that they're made to feel welcome. So away fans, anytime they want to make the trip up, we will definitely make it worth their while. We're always trying to do more things entertainment wise roundabout and have a bit of banter with them.
I've got
And
an idea.
all right, okay, go.
I want to see you three owners have a penalty shootout in between the period. And now that it's out there, your fans are going to be all up in that shit. Sorry, bud.
Phil to do that, no chance. You might
Three
get.
of you. Let's go.
There's no chance Phil's doing it.
Would he
No,
not?
it's no good. I'll do it, but
I know you'll do it, Mr. Showbiz. You'll be right up in front and front and center. You're lefty or a righty?
I'm a righty.
That's what we like. I love to, but do you know what though? Like it, just stuff that you're doing. Excuse me, and the fact that you are thinking about things, you're trying to grow the game, you're trying to bring new fans in. We touched on 844 there. What's the dream? What's the dream number through the door on a weekly basis?
Well, the capacity is 1,200, so the dream is to be saying to people we have no more room. But I think consistently hitting 1,000, 1,000, 1,100, whatever, would be ideal. But it's about, I hate to bring money up all the time with these things, but it's about secondary spend. So if you can get a few hundred in an hour and a half before the game, buy a few drinks, chat, have some food, whatever, and we've got maybe like a band on upstairs or something like that, or we'll get some sort of entertainment on, whatever. And then what we're really good at down there, and fair play to the local community, as well as the away fans and sometimes the away teams as well.
Oh yeah.
Everyone upstairs, we've got a big footprint upstairs where you can fit a few hundred people.
It's class.
So food, drink, music, entertainment, getting everyone up there, rather than the game finishing and the place being like a morgue. It's like, no, keep spending. You stay here, get upstairs, have a drink. We'll get, as you know, we do the player interviews up the stairs afterwards as well. On the Sunday doubleheader with MK, we've got a band playing before, after. We did our Pride jersey auction a few weeks ago upstairs afterwards as well. We're always trying to think of new things to do that keep it fresh and keep people there. This is our club. This is our community. Why leave and go into town when you could stay and be part of the Shark Tank for the rest of the night and have a, as you know, you like to stay there till closing time when we
until
had
until they had to be like. But then that was great for me. Obviously, I know some of the boys, so we got to go out and have some pints after, which again, that meant I got to see some of Dumfries and see some different bars and have a karaoke with the boys. It was a wicked night. But like you say, we didn't. I don't think we left until like the back of 10, 11 o'clock, whatever it was. And that's it. And it reminded me of how it used to be when I was a youngster going into the Bison bar after a Bison game. There'd be fucking 450 people up there. Last year, because Planet Ice, the drink's fucking falling down and that. After a game, the boys would come up, get their pizza, they'd be out the side door. None of the players really stuck around for a pint. All the fans kind of disappeared, and that was it. See you again next Saturday. Whereas, and when I was in Slough, how it used to be in Slough, the rink's very different now, even though the rink's exactly the same. But what they did do, they taken away the two bars. There was a bar at each end, and the bar at the home team end of Slough used to be right next to the locker room. So you come out the locker room and you come in, and there'd be 250 people there. And on a Sunday, the boys would get up, we do a karaoke, because we was all going out in like Windsor afterwards, or we going out for beers with the boys. But we would stick around until 10:30, 11. So that was 200 fans buying pints and buying stuff that really does make all the difference. And I think what you guys have really, really got right is getting a license for the bar, getting a license for the cafe. It gives you a lot more freedom of what you want to serve, how you want to serve, the foods you want to do. And I think knowing that, it made me want to spend my money there more. That it's going back towards I think you said to Andy, it goes back in. It goes back into the team. It goes back into the pot, and that's great news.
Look, we're never going to compete revenue-wise with a club that's going to get over 2,000 people consistently every week. Impossible. As far as sales go, and 50-50 and shirt off the back and whatnot, and merch, jersey sales, you're never going to compete with that. So how do you compete with that? As far as your player budget goes, you have to think of other revenue streams, and the license for the bar and the cafe and keeping people in before, during and after is exactly how we do that. So we can, you look at MK and Leeds, for example, we will be able to compete with them long term because we are thinking outside the box as far as revenue generation goes. That's the whole point. We can only fit 1,200 people maximum in that rink, maximum. So that's 1,000 less than MK had the other night. 1,000.
It's what, 2,360, I think it was.
There you go. So that's 30,000 people over the course of a season less footfall.
Huge.
Massive. So,
and what's that, 15, 16 quid a ticket or whatever it is? Concessions, obviously, but it's a lot of money to try and compete with.
Huge amount of money to try and compete with. But don't worry, we'll do that. We'll come up with a way of figuring it out. We'll be able to get those numbers. Our like I said the other day, our per head spend is something we concentrate on, and it's about having people have a good time and people want to stay there. It's not turn up, watch the game, get to come have a laugh, make it part of your weekly routine. Just get in there, and like we did a watch party on Saturday there for the MK game, you know, and thanks to the other owners as well that have been receptive of us doing that. So we had 75, 80 people upstairs on Saturday from 4 o'clock. We put the rugby on first, which was a genius move. So we had 30, 40 people in watching the rugby on a
That
big
was a
screen.
fucking sweaty one, wasn't it? Jesus, that second half.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. But it meant that folk were in. We bought a couple of beers. Wasn't too much drinking at that time in the day. But then the rugby finished and the queue at the cafe was at the door because everyone was up getting food. Now, not to give away trade secrets, if you like, but it's pretty obvious to people that if we'd opened the doors for that watch party for Sharks versus MK at 6 p.m, most people would have had their food, their dinner by then.
Yep.
Whereas the 40 people that arrived for the rugby, I think every single one of them bought some food.
Massive.
That's helping the club. Every penny of that's getting back into the club. That's how we achieve what 2,600 people at every game can achieve by doing things like that. But it's slow burner, mate. We're getting there every week. We're getting there.
Well, hopefully I'm not outing you here, but me and you discussed something when I was up about the area in front of the bar. Has that been changed yet? And any more news in the pipeline? If that is it, has it been changed?
So the hospitality suite.
Aye.
So that's there to be done.
Okay.
We secure funding for it. So
Again, that's outside the box. It's going to be class place to watch the game from.
fantastic. You know, I think it's going to hold 56 people or 64 people. I can't remember exactly what it is. Two rows of tiered seating, and then a sort of bar ledge area with stools that you can sit on, and then some standing at either side. There'll be a little bar in it, and it'll be an exclusive hospitality suite for sponsors or fans who wish to upgrade, I suppose, and watch the game from up there. Its own little area. But we're looking for a sponsor for that for next season. If somebody's got plenty of dough that they want to give us, we can get it built during the off season. If MD's watching this and they want to sponsor to have the 4,000 and counting hospitality suite, or
I have to get off my wallet first. Hey, while we're at sponsors, if you want to sponsor the pod, we're currently sponsorless. So
no more Hurricane e-bikes, no.
Nah, Pesh. I won't talk about that on here.
Right.
No, we won't talk about that on here because again, I'll start upsetting folk because I'm pretty good at that.
Go
But it's the sponsors I wanted to talk to you about because you have managed to get some sponsors in. I really like what Hercules do. They've been class. I like the products they put out. But what maybe is not as mainstream as Hercules. What about some of these other sponsors that have come on board? Because it takes more than one, right?
Well, obviously our main sponsors like Hercules, obviously, you know, they are brilliant people, as you know.
Yeah, great people.
Now, can't thank them enough for agreeing to be title sponsor. Big risk, and like you say, some of the stuff they bring out is sick. It really is. It's class.
Shout out Hercules, brilliant.
And again, I said this to you the last time we were on. They're lovely people as well, because they sit up in section in Block D with us when they're there, and they make quite a lot of the games. But I love standing where I stand. I can watch the game that way, and I can watch the two of them that way, and it's funny. The game because they're so invested in it. It's absolutely brilliant. And they're always filming it as well. No, brilliant. Other sponsors though, obviously with the deal with Warrior, which was really good. That helped with a lot of the equipment and stuff like that. The Holiday Inn being our main accommodation partner. And then the sponsors in the jersey, obviously the three businesses from the owners are sponsored as well.
Yeah.
West Creative and CLS Fabrication. That's me, David and Phil. But we've had loads of sponsors come forward. Having the big screen now, and that's a 6
You got it now.
It's in.
Oh, sweet.
Size is the one in Manchester, 6 meters by 3 meters, so we can run rolling adverts on that as well, and seeing a sponsor's face when they walk in and they see in a relatively small rink a massive screen with our business logo on it. It's like that's class, you know. That's class.
That'll keep them coming back, mate.
Yep, that's the thing. and we can run video adverts as well as static adverts on it. That's been a real good investment by the rink, if you like. It's been brilliant. And that sponsorship wise, there's plenty of room on that. If you think about your before the game, period breaks, after the game, running with adverts, there's plenty of room there, you know.
Especially like before the game, you talk about that. Chances are the kids are going to be on the ice, the parents. If you're a hockey company, or you might be a hockey shop, you might be a merch company, or whoever it is, just just because it's not right at the Sharks game, you've got under 14s playing, you've got under 16s playing. You have people there. There's so many angles and revenue angles that you can go down.
And all the static boards around the side and the perimeter and the wall, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, the wall space that we've got as well. That's throughout the year that's there. And I think in free ice ball, you wouldn't think, right? But it's something wild, like well over 300,000 visitors a year in that. And we've added to that substantially by the additional sort of 30, 40,000 we're going to bring in over the course of the season. And all the other tournaments that they run, whether it be the figure skaters, whether it be all the recce tournaments, whether it be the curling championships is on there just now, which is why we're playing away from home. So the amount of visibility that's there for potential sponsors is huge, absolutely huge.
You talk about the rink. How crucial have the rink been in your early success there in Dumfries?
Couldn't have done it without them, obviously.
Well, yeah.
The beauty of it is, much like you experienced when you were there, everybody mucks in. So the management, right all the way down to the cleaners, they're all invested in the success of the venue. Every one of them, every single one of them. Too many for me to name, but every time we walk through the door, like they all run away from me because the minute I walk in, I'm going to ask them to do something. See me and they just run a fucking mile. Miller Brown and Katie, who's the sort of the big boss lady, if you like, who's in charge of the entire place, could not be more supportive. And her job is a difficult one because she's got a venue that has lots of service users. So you've got the curlers, you've got us, you've got the figure skaters, you've got the recce teams, you've got the junior teams, you've got the skating club, you've got public skating, you've got classes here, there, and you've got all sorts of things. And she's got to make sure everyone's getting what they deserve, if you like. And she does it brilliantly. You know,
yeah, that's a tough job, that.
He's hosted the GB under 20 tournament there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable success. The amount of people through the door. The Trophy de Cost there for the figure skating as well. I think they had 3,000 people through the door over the weekend. It was just absolutely wild. And she's in charge of all of that. So fair play to her. She has been instrumental in the success that we've been able to bring, because we come to her with a fucking crazy idea. Yeah. Getting a boat on the ice, you know, every single time. Her mantra is nothing's off the table, but just be prepared when I say no. And that's all you can ask for.
That's a really good way of doing it. And I spoke to John Colley, and that's kind of his mantra. Like, we will try, and if you come to us with a good idea for Scottish ice hockey, for Aberdeen, for whoever it is, we will. We're not just no straight away. We'll listen, and if we can make it work and it's going to be successful for everybody, then yeah, let's go. And I think having people like that involved in, whether it be an ice rink, whether it be a association, whether it be an organization like a club, it's going to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just saying, it's people like that, like John Colley, for example, who are switched on, who understand business as well, and they appreciate what the paying public want. So they make sure they do what they can to give the paying public what they want. And that's why he's a success, and that's why Aberdeen are a success. And subsequently, that's why Dumfries Ice Bowl as a venue, if you like, outside Sharks games, is also a success because of the people that are running it.
It's been great having a Scottish team come into the league. Everyone bitched about the travel initially, but ultimately you boys are doing more travel than anybody else. How's that been so far? Not only for for the lads, but for the bank balance.
I don't want to talk about the bank balance on traveling. We knew the thing is, Nicky, we knew at the start of the season where every rink was. So it's not like it came as a surprise that we were going to have to travel here, there, and everywhere, and Peaks and I have this weekly duel, shall we say, whereby the coach company will tell me when they want to pick the guys up to go to Bristol or Sheffield or Leeds or Swindon. So they'll give me a time and I'll text that time to Peaks and he'll text back and he'll have added half an hour on it. So and it's like every time, no matter what time I tell him, he adds an extra half an hour on it just to give the boys that little bit extra space. But they seem to be okay. I've not had one guy moan about the travel. Not one. Not one.
And you'll find when it's a good bunch of lads, you don't mind being on the bus. It's a crack.
I think Dunbar said right at the start when he looked at all the venues and he went, well, I used to go from Guildford to Fife and back again. This travel's a piece of piss.
So funny you say that. I was speaking to Brett Ferguson after they played Cardiff down in Guildford the other day, and Guildford had been in playing the Clan the night before. They're traveling back. They're expecting to get back at, like the back of 6, 7 o'clock. It's a big smash up on the motorway. They are like the 4th car behind the smash. So hours. They got a game against Cardiff that night. They get back into Guildford at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. They got to be at the rink for 4. But guess what? They won the fucking game. They go out, they find a way. And I'm sure you boys haven't had it yet, but you will. Like we had it when we were Bracknell going to Manchester before the playoffs. Our bus broke down. Like you're going for the playoff quarterfinals, and we spent 3.5 hours at a service station on the way. It's like stuff's gonna happen when you travel. The boys are playing a bit too touch, drinking Costas, probably put a grand in Costas till that day at the services. But the boys, we come together, we make it work. No one's getting too upset about it. And when you've got a good group of lads around you, what a difference it makes.
We're quite lucky, mate, that you spoke about the bus or the coach. I have to call them coaches, not buses, apparently. When the coach, if our coach breaks down, because it's parts of Hamilton that supply us with the coaches, I think they've got a fleet of over 300 coaches.
Oh, wow.
I think their tagline is reassuringly expensive. And Michael, who's actually a mate of mine, who's the transport manager or in charge of the coaches, rather, if ever there's an issue, it's sorted like that. That's the beauty of it. It's not a small coach company where if the coach breaks down, you're screwed. Our coach breaks down, there will be another one there very quickly to take over, because that's the service that they offer. And that's why, with all the travelling we were doing, we decided in day one, let's spend a wee bit extra money going with an organisation like Parts of Hamilton, who we know can cope with our demands, but also will pull us out a hole if something goes wrong. And luckily, touch wood, whatever, because their coaches are brilliant, so they've not broke down yet.
Well, that's class. That's what you want. When it comes to the travel side of things, I've seen like a few teams have maybe had double headers up your way. You don't seem to have had very many double headers down this way. Is that something that you hope will change for the 24-25 season?
Aye, I think next year the fixtures, we will probably push back a wee bit on some of them and some of the face-off times. Now, I understand it's a hard job. I get it. Everyone that's got a rink has a rink manager, owner, whether it be Planet Ice, etc., etc. There are set times that they are and are not allowed to play. I get that. But, they need to maybe take into consideration the travelling that we're doing. Now, they let us into the league on the proviso that we didn't moan too much about the travelling. That was year one.
Yeah.
It was slightly different. But yeah, double headers. I think we've only had, in fact, last weekend was the first one that we had to put the boys up in a hotel, to be honest with you. And then again, this weekend, just there. So that's 2 weekends in a row that we've had to put them up due to the double header. And I think we've got 4 at home in total.
Okay.
maybe had 3 already, I think. I'm not sure. And the next one's the MK double header. We're all right with that though. I quite like that. You know, from a venue perspective, from our
Absolutely.
perspective, getting everyone there and keep them there for the weekend's ideal for us.
Well, I think if you're a fan, say MK, well, it's MK to Dumfries is going to be what, 4.5, 5 hours? My geography's not great, but let's say it is that. So if you're a fan and you're thinking of going on the road, if you can kill two birds with one stone, epic. And not only that, you then get the Saturday night, like you say, there's entertainment and shit going on. You stick around in the bar, you have pints, the boys will come up and say hello. You'll get to drink with the Solway fans, have a few beers, and like you say, hockey's a community, whether it just be the Sharks in their own community, the league in their own community, the league within the UK as a hockey community. It's not massive, and when we get together, we have fun.
100%, 100%. That's what it's all about. Come and enjoy yourself, have some fun. And if you're an MK fan or whoever it is, why not go and stay overnight? See
Yeah,
both, you know, I think the Sunday game's 3 p.m. face off, so you're done and away by 6 o'clock. All right, you're still midnight before you're home, but it's no 4 or 5 in the morning before you're home. Do you know what
it
I
makes a
mean?
huge difference because let's face it, most of those boys in that league still work. You know, there'll be very few lads in that league that are living off what they make playing hockey. So they will be getting back to work on Monday morning. And the difference between you getting back at midnight, shit shower shave, get your work shit ready for the morrow, and getting 7, 8 hours kip as opposed to getting back in at 5. You've just got off the bus, you're shattered, and then your missus goes, "When's your alarm?" You go, "Hour and 30 minutes." So that's a rough go, especially for you guys having to do that travel more. So I think the double header situation, get you some earlier face offs. Again, I think it then improves your on ice product as well.
It does. It does. And it gives you the chance to have that little mini competition. I feel like, you know, if you've got the same team Saturday, Sunday, it's almost like a little mini cup competition that you've got with them going on. And it helps them with travel, it helps them with accommodation costs because they're not up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, you're up, you're staying over, and then you're down again. So yeah, double headers work for us. I don't know. I'd need to obviously during the off season we'll speak to all the other owners at our various owners meetings and we'll find out how they've all felt this season. Yeah, you never know. They might turn around and say we made a mistake letting you guys in. You're barred for next season.
Can't see it, pal. Can't see it.
You never know. So
Well,
we'll
I
find think about it. You know.
I think everything that we talked about previously on the podcast before you were even in, there's everything's been, all the T's have been crossed, all the I's have been dotted, and I think you have been a great addition to the National League, which again we thought you would be. What would be what would be classed as a success in these next 15 games here?
So I think I said to you day one that the 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 playoffs were a must, but finishing high up the table as high as we could would be the icing on the cake, if you like. Now I think the best we could probably achieve now, even if we won every single game from now to the end of the season, would still be mid-table, fifth, if you like.
Yeah.
So I think providing we finish sixth or seventh or even eighth, and we make the playoffs, I don't know. I think
Anything can happen in that league.
now granted, a couple of heavy defeats recently that we're going to have to. I'm assuming Martin will analyse so that they don't happen again. But to make the final four on your first inaugural season is a huge success, as
That'd
far
be
as
massive.
I'm concerned. And I don't see why that can't happen. With the way it's happening, as far as I'm aware, splitting into 2 leagues of 4, you'll have 3 home games, 3 away games, 2 from each mini league go through to the final 4. So you've got 6 games to make it to the final 4.
I prefer that format for two reasons. For one, as a player, it's 2 weeks extra money. Let's
What? If
let's
they told me
fucking, let's fucking go. And for two, let's say your goalie shakes the bed on an aggregate on your Saturday leg. Actually, pumped out of it on. Actually, pumped out of it after one game because even if let's say you lose 8-1, and by the way, not blaming the goalies for that. I'm pretty sure that's a team effort to let that many goals in, but it can happen. Again, I'll go back to the Bracknell Manchester scenario. That was we sat in the services for 3.5 hours, and we go up there. I think we got Dick 9-3. So to then go back down to Bracknell the next day, and you got Tony Hand and Ed Courtney and Adam Walker and all those boys wheeling around, you'd have to win 7-0. Whereas if we just go, right, boys, we lost that one game, we got 5 more. We need to win 4. Like, come on, let's go. You've got an opportunity. So, I mean, you can win the Stanley Cup losing 12 games.
Aye, true.
Like,
True.
best of 7 series, you can win them all 4-3. 4 rounds. You could lose 12 games and win the Stanley Cup Finals. Yet back in the early national days, you have a shite Saturday. That's you pretty much. You're kissing your Coventry opportunities goodbye.
Yeah.
So
So,
I like the
no.
format, and I think the Sharks could be dangerous if they make the playoffs. There's a lot of boys on that team that all of a sudden you think Dunny and Peaks have been good so far. You watch them when the playoff time rolls around, and there'll be another gear there. And I think someone we haven't mentioned at all on this podcast so far, I think is one of the best D-men in the league, Liam Stenton. Like you watch that level just up a wee bit when the push comes to shove.
Liam is an outstanding player and an outstanding human being as well. Great guy. He's probably one of the biggest prospects I think that we've got. We've got lots and lots of great players. I don't want to do any disrespect to the rest of the team, but Liam, I've got to know him really, really well over the last 6 months, if you like. From talking to him upstairs in the house here when I was talking to him when he was going to leave the clan and come back and play for Spud down here. For a young guy, he's got such a mature head on his shoulders. And I actually caught up with him. I mean, I speak to him every week anyway, but I caught up with him about that 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I said, so, right decision then, Liam? And he was like, oh, aye.
Perfect.
All day long, and same again on a Sunday. He said, I'm absolutely loving it here. Don't get me wrong, the door's still open for him to go back to the Elite League. The relationship with the clan is still there. And I'm sure he'll probably end up maybe going back there one day. But for now, and for as long as we can, he's a shark and he's loving it. He's
Well, so I'm thinking more big picture, GB, and you got Mark Richardson, you got David Phillips, you got Ben O'Connor. You start looking at these boys' ages, and eventually we're going to have to replace them. And I'm sure at some point Liam will go back up. He's still a young man and exceptional talent, but he is one of the guys for me that's in that shop window to be a GB full international at some point in his career.
He should be. There's absolutely no doubt that he should be, because what maybe the fans don't see, or anyone watching them on a stream, or any of the GB selectors, if you like, don't see, is behind the scenes, the guy is a leader. He is a leader. So I spoke earlier about the schools programme that we're doing. It's him. Dunbar organises it. Liam runs it. Liam boys gets them sorted, gets the kit, gets the gear, gets down to that school and teaches the kids about hockey.
Class.
And that's him. He leads that, if you like, and that's off ice leadership as well as on ice. He also does loads of stuff around the rink as well. He's a great player, but he's a leader. And that's what GB needs. Well, in my opinion, that's what GB need to be thinking about. He's a young lad. He's only 21, 22, I think.
21, maybe 22.
He's got a level head on his shoulders, and he looks after his teammates. You just need to watch how he plays. And if you keep an eye on where he is on the ice and what he does on the ice, he's the epitome of a team player.
Well, it's a cloth he's cut from. Obviously, the amount of work his old man does. I met his mum up in Dumfries. She's like great people. That's the first opportunity I've really had to meet and chat with them. And like you said, what I liked about the rink is, what did I get down there? 11 o'clock. The game's not until the back of 5, 6, and you get to talk to you know, Stench, JT's misses. Like there's people in and around the rink that they really give a shit what happens. Like they're all invested.
And they're all mental. They're all
Aye,
crazy.
they're all mental as well. Aye.
Well, listen, Liam's dad, Peam's the kit man. Andrea, his mum, runs the bar. And various other things that she does behind the scenes as well, like player registration, all the stuff to do with the English ice hockey, something or other that we as owners have got zero clue about, but she did it all for us, which is ideal because she'll always ask me, she'll message me and say, John, I was thinking it, and I just go, Andrea, you know what you're doing? Just do it. just do it. And she's brilliant at that. And JT's Mrs. Leanne, she is bonkers.
Aye.
Certifiably bonkers. As loud as they come. It screams from start to finish. And is also her and her sister Lisa run the juniors.
Yeah.
So they're both absolutely first class, brilliant people.
I'm gonna finish up with a couple of more questions, looking more forward to next year. Obviously, as owners and as a club, there's no doubt that you're not already looking ahead to next year, putting some plans in place. How have the initial conversations gone with a view to 24-25?
We've already started. We are putting together we've got the long list, and we're narrowing that down to the short list. And we've already started chatting to some people and some players about next season already. We're not going to hang about.
You have some time this year, which will be nice for you.
Exactly. We've already started that now, so we're going to be making moves relatively soon, I would think.
With the players that you already have, are you looking at bringing some of those boys back? Are they already kind of having discussions with yourself? And more importantly, as I expect they must do, but do they want to come back?
Well, obviously, as owners, we'll try and stay out of the roster selection side of things.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know the first thing about putting a team together. I know who I like, and I know who I think looks good, and I know who I think will play well with so and so and blah blah blah. But that's Martin and JT's and Craig's job to do. They need to decide who they want and put that team together. The task this time round will be blank page, put together a championship winning team. That's it. Just do it.
I like the ambition, and there's no doubt in my mind that Solway will win the National League, whether you better do it soon enough as next year, or it takes a couple of years, takes 5 years, whatever it takes. There will be a stage where we hear Solway Sharks National League champions.
100%, and we shall refer back to this very podcast when that happens.
Yeah, because I like being right. Doesn't happen too often. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, have you noticed maybe more players reaching out to you because they've talked, they've heard, they see what you guys are doing, that are maybe going, hey, we might maybe be interested next year and coming over the border?
Yeah. You know what it's like in this game? Everybody talks to everybody. So we've had loads of interest from across the border, down south and over the sea as well, shall we say. Obviously, as owners, when we get the messages through, it's like we'll just forward, thanks very much, and forward it on to Martin, and Martin will either go, no, yep, no, yep, no, yep, and take it like that. And Craig in particular, I think he must get a message every 2 or 3 days from people looking to try and secure a spot with us. Because everybody wants to be a Shark at one point, or they better want to be a Shark at one point.
The other question I wanted to ask you, because I should have done it when we were talking about the fans, but I'll do it now. Obviously, being the only National League team in Scotland, have you maybe seen some support coming from Fife, Dundee, Glasgow, and maybe even some of the SNL teams? Are you seen some of them fans come through the door or buy the streams or get involved?
No, we are. The stream does well. We sell quite a few streams. We've had Fife fans down, Dundee fans down, obviously the Clan because of the connection with myself, Phil and David to the Clan, as well as Liam, Craig and Dunny, of course. We've got a lot of Clan fans, very, very supportive of what we're doing and coming down to the games as well. So it's quite unusual standing there before a game and seeing some Fife Flyer jerseys coming in or a Clan jersey coming in. You're kind of like, what's going
That's
on there?
good though. That's what we want.
I mean, and they're all welcome. You know, they all watch this anyway, and they're always welcome. And anyone who has been down from the Clan or Fife or Dundee they've loved their time when they've come down. And again, we've just got to thank them as well. You know, they've taken the time out to travel down. It's only an hour and a bit away from Glasgow, Dumfries, but they've taken the time to come down and support us. And we thank them with open arms. We welcome them with open arms as well.
Oh, you teed me up so good for this next question. Speaking of welcoming with open arms, if there was to be a situation where Fife go tits up in the Elite League, would you welcome them with open arms into the National League?
I would welcome anyone who wishes to join the National League, providing they are stable enough to survive. Why not? We fear no one and welcome everyone. So bring it on.
Well, that's epic, because I would love to. Well, you guys have proved that Scottish teams have a place, and it isn't just getting your asses handed.
National. It's called the National League. Of course, there should be Scottish representation there. It's national.
Well, I'm Scottish, so I'm biased as fuck, right? I'm biased as fuck, so I'm obviously going to be like, it should happen. But you know, I think the fans from down south that maybe had, oh, should they be in? Should they? The travel, the this, the that. I think you guys have kind of put that to bed with the way you've come into the league, the product you put on the ice, the work you're doing off the ice. I think that kind of opens the door for other clubs in Scotland to perhaps look at that route.
I suppose it does. We've not done anything. I'm trying to hang how to phrase this. We've not done anything remarkably different to what other clubs maybe would have done. What we've done is you've had 3 owners with hockey-ish backgrounds, businesses, sponsorship with hockey clubs beforehand. So we've just brought a fresh approach to how we would have done it. And we've put that into the Sharks. Like I said the other day there, when I was talking to Andy Glenn, we have taken an already established institution and just improved it where we could. That's all we've done. You know, yes, we feel like we started from scratch a little bit, but when you look back now at the foundations that were already there with the Sharks, with the people and the volunteers and the rink and the council and all that kind of stuff, that was already there, and it was just simmering away. Just needed a wee bit of magic sprinkled on it, and then boom, that's us. We are where we are.
Love it. Final question. How good was the Frankfurt experience? Because your videos have made that top of the hit list for 4,000 counting goes road tripping.
So Frankfurt and anywhere in Germany, to be honest with you, for hockey is it's unbelievable. The atmosphere in these places is just wild. You know, the first game we went to was that the Frankfurt game? Yes, the Frankfurt Lions. And we got in, and their main sponsor, which happens to be a sex shop of all things.
Hey, whatever. Whoever's got the money.
Like, so we're looking at the name of this main sponsor. We're like, right, okay, whatever. And then the following day, we all jumped on as you do, tourists, we jumped on the bus tour.
Aye.
And we're on the bus tour, and I was like, that's that main sponsor. And my wife Maureen said to me, she's like, that's a sex shop. And everybody's turning in, and there's, gimp masks and okay, fair enough. But what they did well is they had the foldable, things.
Yeah, sticks.
Single seat. And that must have been a 2,000-3,000 seater arena, and every seat had them on it. And the noise that they made with everyone going throughout the game was epic, unbelievable. It's a great place to watch hockey, Germany.
I've been to Cologne, I've been to Berlin, 2 games in each this year, both fantastic. And the noisemakers you talk about, one of the volunteers actually that helped me with the charity game last year was like, "What? Do you want some noisemakers?" And when the kids came into the charity game last year, I think we gave like the first 100 kids through the door or whatever, we gave them noisemakers. So for a charity game, like, everyone's getting after it. It's loud. Honestly, the atmosphere makes such a difference.
Well, it does. Eventually, just air horns to the Shark Tank, and I think we sold 80 air horns at the last home game.
That's epic.
Honestly, you would have thought that you were in the middle of Istanbul at some mad big party. It was just, the noise was unbelievable.
I love it. John, congratulations on the success so far. I hope to see you in the Coventry Final Four weekend. And yeah, just all the best for the rest of the way here.
Cheers, Nicky, and thank you for all your support. I talk about you regularly when I'm on these things. You were first out the traps when we got announced. You grabbed me and you were like, right, we're doing this, and you've been really supportive ever since. So, you know, for 4,000 and counting, and yourself personally, Nicky, I can't thank you enough for your support.
Hey mate, well, you sold me the dream, and I'm a believer, and so far so good. And onto the rest of the year, and I'm really excited to see what you do with some actual time behind you as opposed to a hot fortnight, like, or whatever it was. But I'm really excited to see what you guys do in the coming 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons here.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Ladies and gents, Solway fans, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Come back if you haven't already. We've got Mason videos, we've got Grubby videos, we've got JT, we got Dunny, we got Peaks. They're all on there. Go check them out, and we will see you again for another episode very, very soon. Peace.